I'm named Serra. We're going to talk about marketing and promoting all of your events and your community. So this picture is actually really old of me, but I like to think that I look like this all the time. I am the Google Developer Group lead for St. Louis, Missouri, middle of nowhere. I know, it's okay. We're in beautiful California. And I'm the Women Tech Makers Ambassador for St. Louis and also the North America Mentor. So please, if you ever have any questions, tweet at me, send me an email. Find me on Facebook, literally any of those venues, and I can answer any of your questions. I mean, you can slide into my DMs, but we'll see if I respond. Okay, so everyone wants to know, how do you get people to come to your events? And a lot of you are new organizers, and kind of it feels like the biggest metric is anyone here? 50 people said that they were coming on Meetup and only 5 people are actually here, but I accidentally ordered 10 pizzas. How do we kind of try to figure this out and make our communities better and get more people so we can get more funding and show our sponsors that we're really awesome and continue to build a community, right? There's a lot of things we're going to go through, but I just want you all to remember, you will get all of these slides and recordings after the event, so you don't necessarily need to read every single word on a slide or anything like that. Okay, so really quickly, general requirements for everyone as a Google Developer Group expert or Google Developer Group lead. Your GDG has to be part of the Pro Network on meetup.com, very simply. Probably all of you were added as an organizer or co-organizer on Meetup. You have to have an event every 90 days. And you'll get those really pesky emails saying, hey, you didn't have an event in the past 90 days. If you want to continue being a Google Developer Group, you just need to have an event every 90 days. If you're like me and you had a baby last year and maternity leave for me was 120 days, clearly I wasn't going to have an event in 90 days. Talk to your regional lead and figure out something. Find your sidekick to run an event like that, and just try to figure it out, because when we have dormant communities, people don't feel like they're going to provide them a lot of value. So we just want to keep our communities up. And then simply you have signed some terms and conditions, but follow the code of conduct and then get everyone in your meetup to follow the code of conduct. This link has a link to a code of conduct that you can use for your meetups, and we like to put it in all of our events that basically say, hey, don't be a jerk. If you are being a jerk or you see somebody else being a jerk, come talk to me or someone like that, and say that at the beginning of every single one of your meetups. It generally, again, helps you build community. So what is the timeline around running one of these events, right? We've seen on different people's slides, they're like 2 to 3 months out. I am not a 2 to 3 month out person. I don't know what 2 to 3 months out is. My kid will be a very different kid in that time. So for me, I am a little bit more run by the seat of my pants, and I try to have an event published 4 to 6 weeks out. And that's a good time frame because people are generally looking to schedule something and actually commit to something within the next month. So you can put something on Meetup and you don't actually have to promote it. When we're sending out these forms saying, hey, are you going to do an International Women's Day event? You need to give me your Meetup link. You can make it on Meetup and you don't actually have to click the promote button. You could wait until 4 to 6 weeks out and actually promote it to everyone, but it's on your Meetup page. People can organically find it, and then you could actually decide when you're publishing it to everyone when you have a lot more of the information. After that, you want to hype it every so often. Please don't hype it every single day. That's super annoying. I don't want to see something about it. Generally, I try to hype it maybe 2 to 3 weeks out and another one a week out. And generally when I'm hyping things, I'm trying to say, this is the value that you get. Maybe I'm showing, hey, if you come, this is what we're raffling off, and that's really awesome, and you really want this Google Home. Or maybe I'm saying, hey, we asked what you wanted, and you said you wanted a Flutter meetup. We're giving you this Flutter meetup. Please come so we can continue these events. Always send out a reminder the day before or the day of, or even both, because again, if you're like me, you have a million things going on, and that reminder kind of says, oh yeah, I committed to this thing. A lot of times we've seen this when we haven't sent out that day before reminder, people just forget and they don't come, versus when we do send out that reminder, people are like, oh snap, that's what I was gonna do tonight. Okay, cool, I'm gonna come. And then afterwards, always send out some message saying thank you, putting a picture of the event and thanking the sponsors, thanking the speakers, thanking everyone for attending. It shows new people that this is a community that they want to join. It also, for my community, it shows that we have a lot of women in the pictures. And so when a new person is trying to come, they're like, oh, look, this meetup has a lot of people that look like me. I feel more safe going. Or for the people who didn't go, they're like, oh, shoot, I didn't go because I thought no one was going to be there. And there are 60 people there. And that actually could have been a really good networking opportunity. Maybe I should go next time. So those are all ways to kind of show that you're building this community and it's actually being successful. Okay, so how do you create a good invite? We've all seen those meetup invites that are like, Flutter event, learn about Flutter. Cool. What am I really getting out of that, right? I'm like, is that going to be me watching somebody play a video for 2 hours that I could have done at home while like watching Netflix on the side? Like, right? You want to like give people a good idea, and you also want to catch people's attention. So a very short description of what the event is, like this will be an interactive workshop about Flutter, and then a longer description afterwards of Flutter is a mobile language that does cross-platform development. We'll go into the basics of this. You should bring your computer, all of those details around what people should expect from the event, and then talk about logistics. Because, okay, St. Louis, everybody drives, and the big hold up is, where do I park? Do I have to pay for parking? For me, it's, do I have to parallel park? If I have to parallel park, I'm not going to go. Which says a lot about me as a person, I'm aware. So I literally don't go to meetups where I have to parallel park. So I try to give people these details of like, oh, if you want this, like you could park in this garage, or there's parallel parking here, or there's free street parking here. Public transit in St. Louis isn't really a thing. I mean, I guess it exists, but you know your community, you know how they're getting there, so try to give them the details around that. Similarly for food, a lot of our meetups, we're all just doing pizza. We had this lovely lunch and breakfast here at Google, and you saw that there was a lot of variety of food. One of the things we're trying to get better about is saying, hey, we're gonna have this food, but we'll also have gluten-free options and vegan options, and give people a sense that, again, they belong in this community, and we're trying to be inclusive with our food. Or maybe saying, hey, we're actually not providing food because we didn't have any funding this time. Please help us find a sponsor to fund this, right? Again, it gives people an awareness of, oh, I can expect this from this event or not. And then similarly, what I was saying about computers, if you're having an event, I'm a Swift developer, so you can only do Swift on, MacBooks. And if you're having an event like that and people need a MacBook, you need to tell them, bring this thing, or find somebody who does and make a new friend. A lot of people will come to your events and feel very ill-prepared, or if you're doing one of the code labs or anything that needs you to download something ahead of time, please tell people these details, because the worst is when somebody drives an hour through rush hour traffic to get to your meetup and then they can't participate. They don't want to come back in the future. So these are all the kind of aspects that you should include in your event invite, just to kind of give people a good idea of what they should expect and why they should continue to come back. Don't read this, it's really long, but I keep talking about Flutter, and the top half is my short invite of, hey, we heard you. You wanted a Flutter invite or a Flutter event. This is what you should expect. And then we kind of go on, like I was saying, of what is Flutter, why are we doing this, and all of those details. I cut off the very bottom, and I wish I included it. We also try to include on all of our invites, everyone from any gender identity is welcome, because that might not matter to you as a person, but it matters to a lot of other people. And the more you can be inclusive and the more that you could say all of these things in your invite, make people feel like they are included in a community and that they need to know what the community is like and know that we are a very inclusive community. And if they're not an inclusive person, they need to fix that, right? Okay, so similarly, I showed you like the text of an invite. We promote all of our stuff on Meetup, which asks you for an image, Facebook that asks you for an image, Twitter, you get a lot more hits if you have an image. So there's a lot of places that you can make very simple images that have all of your invite details on it. You don't want to be too wordy. This feels like a good mix of where is it going to be, what time is it, what's the short kind of name of it, and then at the bottom we kind of put who was sponsoring it. I work for SLOM, our SLOM's Women Leadership Network co-sponsors all of our events, and so again, I'm showing that what our group is and who's kind of throwing it, so people can, tie it to who the group and the community is. If you, so there's 3 different websites that I put on here. Canva is great for making free invites, and they have a lot of optimization for the Facebook banner, the Twitter banner, all those other kind of banners. Pixabay and Pexels, which I can never pronounce, have a lot of free images. So I often take those free images and then overlay some text on it just to make these things. Again, it's really hard. I'm not a graphic designer. I'll be completely honest. I would love to be, and I would love to make pretty things, but I trust the internet to give me free pretty things, right? So please use these websites and kind of go and see it. A lot of times, like, I Google other companies' events, and I'm like, oh, how did they lay it out? Oh, that was pretty. Let me make my invite kind of look like that. And that's where we kind of got this. And this is also really easy to make and then share. So you send this image to all of the people that you want to help promote your event, right? And they can send it as an attachment in an email, or they could put it on LinkedIn, or they could put it anywhere, and it has enough information to kind of tell people a little bit about your event and get curious. So like I was saying, we invite people in a lot of different places. For my meetup in particular, we obviously do the meetup stuff. St. Louis as a whole doesn't use Meetup as much as many of the other social media platforms, so you need to know your community, right? You always need to post your events on Meetup as a Google developer group, so you always should start there. Write up your invite, make sure that your organizer, whoever's the organizer or co-organizer is getting the post-event survey and putting those numbers out. That all comes from Meetup. That is like a Google developer group kind of requirement, and it helps the GDGs get more funding because they have more, data around things. So please fill out those event surveys afterwards. I'm really bad at it. I need to be better, and we should try to do that. If you're having trouble with that, you don't get the post-event surveys, ask your regional leads and go from there. We send out a lot of tweets and a lot of Facebook invites. So on Twitter, I showed you what we would send out, but we ask all of our sponsors for retweets. We ask all of our speakers for retweets, and we just generally get people to keep following us. Our Twitter presence isn't great, but it's good enough that our local St. Louis tech event Twitter account will retweet our event and get the word out. Again, find what works for your community. Twitter is a very small part for us, but we still make sure that we add tweets. Similarly, Facebook. Facebook is actually our biggest thing that gets people to come to our meetups because every single time I have to leave my house, I'm going up against, do I want to not watch Netflix tonight and go to an event and be social and talk to people, right? And what makes me feel better, even as an extrovert, is knowing that I know people who are also going. So we put this on Facebook, and what we found, even for our most hardcore machine learning workshops is if somebody has a friend that they're going with, they know that they're sitting with their friend, they're holding them accountable to come, and they're more likely to succeed afterwards and actually finish a machine learning class. So we try to promote things on Facebook as much as possible and get people to ask their friends to come to events. Similarly, for our first-time speakers, we say, hey, put the event out on, share it on Facebook and say, hey, this is my first time speaking. Please invite your friends and show your support for me. Because a lot of times the people who come are like, this is a great community. I didn't know that I cared about this topic. I just cared about my friend, and now I want to continue coming. We made a Google developer group page, and so everyone likes that page and the events originate from there, and then we share it out on our personal pages and share things out that way. It's worked for my community. It might not work for your community, but that's something that has really worked in terms of getting a lot of real-time feedback. So I'm actually going to show you the steps of how I created an invite for our last event, which was the holiday party. Actually, that's not true. Our second to last event. But so we created a holiday party invite about a month out. You'll see at the very top it says when it was rescheduled for, and I'll go into more details about that. But we described it. We described who our sponsors were. We said all genders are encouraged to attend. And you see, I'm like, cool, I actually know a lot of these people who are going. Luckily, I have a lot of friends who come out to support my events, but what we've seen is it grows over time. You invite one of your friends, they invite another friend, and it just keeps growing like that. So your Facebook group will start off with one person liking it, and that will be yourself, right? And then maybe your mom. And then it will continue to grow over time. And I'm always surprised where I'm like, we haven't hosted an event in a while, and people are still liking our page. Cool, that's great. And so it's just nice to kind of build off of that. Like I was saying, 2 weeks before, we send out a hype message. We always try to include some image of a sort. In this case, for our holiday party, we gave everyone socks. And you could see a ton of people were reached, and it's nice because Facebook gives you these metrics. When we found out that there was a huge snowstorm, we could ask for real-time feedback if we should reschedule the event. We also sent this on Meetup too to everyone, and we got a lot of feedback, and no, people did not want to come out in the snow for socks, and so, hey, that was a no, and we rescheduled the event. And so it's nice to kind of be able to roll with the punches, send people those emails immediately and say, hey, we're rescheduling this. Please don't come tomorrow. And actually on Facebook being able to see, thank God, 200-something people were reached and they got this message. Cool. And then we rescheduled it, and you'll see we sent out a reminder saying, hey, we're gearing up for our rescheduled party. We're going to have all this pasta and all this other cool stuff so people remember why they wanted to come. Free pasta and free socks. Who doesn't want to come to that, right? And then we had our day of reminder. Look at how many socks there are in this thing. It was really exciting for me. We had no socks at the end because we had way too many people come, so be wary of too much promotion. Yeah, it was a little bit too much hype. People really like socks, but we sent out that day of reminder, and a ton of people actually remembered to come because of that. And then lastly, we sent out the thank you that said, thanks for everyone that came. I always like showing pictures of the food just to show people that we're awesome. We get a lot of pasta and charcuterie boards. And that has been like a staple of our meetup. People know to expect cupcakes and charcuterie, and they will come for that, and they'll stay for the meetup itself. But people know that is our community. That's what we care about. And you see, people are in small groups talking to each other, and it's nice like that. It gives people a visual reminder of what we're trying to do. And then we thank people and promote the next event. This is actually a really old post, but I said, hey, thanks for coming tonight. We're actually hosting a Dev Fest. Do you want to be a speaker? That would be awesome. So you're continually showing them like, hey, you did this awesome thing. Let's leverage this. Let's talk about the next thing. Remember, we're an ongoing community. And so at the end of the day, community is what matters. I have a couple quick reminders to kind of help you think through this. So get your coworkers to hype your event, right? If it's at your workplace, get them to hype it on LinkedIn. LinkedIn feels super official, especially if your company is saying that you're doing that. In this case, our marketing director posted something afterwards and was like, hey, we did this great workshop. Look at all these happy people. And everyone who wanted to work at Slalom then came to the next event. Similarly, get your sponsors to hype up the event on their social media, get them to retweet it, get them to talk about the lineup, get them to say why they're excited. People who want to work at your sponsors' places will then come and actually go to your events, and it gets the word out a lot more. And then at the end of it, thank your sponsors and thank your speakers. When you're running a Dev Fest or any other event, take a picture of your sponsor and then immediately send out a tweet about it. They will retweet it. You'll get more followers because when you first start out, you have no followers, right? Everyone who's following their account will start following your account, and you'll start seeing that. Also, speakers love it when you share a picture of them because they're not having to hype themselves. They could retweet it and say, hey, prospective jobs or whatever, look at this thing that I did, but they don't have to hype themselves. So that's actually the biggest thing that I would say. Thank your speakers, and the more that they see that, other speakers will want to come. Similarly with stuff about, I can't remember who said this earlier, but give them a thank you present. We do that in front of everyone at our meetup. We're like, thank you, speaker, here's your fancy present. And people want to be speakers because they just want to know what's in that fancy gift bag. And it like totally works, but do things like that. Show people that you care about the community and you care about everyone involved. And then lastly, combine with other meetups. So we do a lot of stuff with Angular. There's an Angular meetup. Send some stuff out to the Angular meetup and say, hey, you're a co-sponsor on our event. It's no skin off your back, right? And then they will combine with you. The Angular meetup made an entire track for our Dev Fest. I didn't have to plan a single thing. And all of these meetups are in your area. Send them messages. Ask them to invite their members. Invite your members to their meetup. We're not competing for people, right? We're really not. We're trying to build a community so everyone learns. Remember that at the end of the day. If you're in a turf war with another meetup, figure out why and figure out how to work with them. And because we ended up joining with 5 other meetups for our holiday party, and we had way more attendance than I could ever expect, but it was awesome, and it created a lot of connections and a lot of really good community building. Okay, that's it. Hopefully I'm within time and you can ask some questions. Again, please send me an email or a tweet or a Facebook message, whatever you want if you have questions on this. If you want to run an invite by me and say, hey, does this invite make sense? Would love to help in any way.
So you showed a very nice flyer of the... You showed a very beautiful flyer in pink for the Women Tech Makers event. I don't know about the branding for Women Tech Makers, but how flexible are we in creating these kind of flyers on Canvas or something while we need to use the Google branding colors and so on?
That is an excellent question, and I might go off reservation and do my own thing. So you're right. I try to... So the logos themselves, like the GDG logo and the Women Tech Makers logo, you should not change the colors on that. You should not change anything on that. So a lot of times on the invites, I'll try to put that at the very bottom. Sometimes if it's just literally words, I will put Women Tech Makers, whatever my other sponsors are, whatever. I think that's a good balance. Do you want to say something about that?
It's your group. And so long as you're not screwing up the logos.
Exactly.
It's your group as long as you're not screwing up the logos. And you can always like white a logo out, so like increase the brightness to 100% and then it'll turn white instead of whatever colors it is, and that's an easy way to just switch the logo really quick. But if you're using it on a color background like that.
Yeah. So and try don't do crazy fonts and
No Comic Sans.
But I try to figure out something that's still aesthetically pleasing, if you will, without really changing the logos at all. Other questions?
How long does it take you to make a background like that, just so people have an idea of how much effort it is?
Yeah, so I suck at graphic design. I'll be completely honest, and so it actually takes me a couple of iterations to go through and make an invite that looks kind of pretty and not really clunky. And I have found a nice sidekick who is a lot better at graphic design stuff, and in order to do that, I actually make sure that every single time she makes an invite for me, I thank her on work stuff in a public forum over and over. So if you are asking people for help, literally thank them out loud in a public forum so people feel like they're getting credit for things. Sometimes even in the invite, I'm like, these are the people who made this event possible. Again, it makes people feel good when they're helping and makes them come back. Like I said, I really suck at this, and I will draft an invite wording, and then I'll send it to a couple of people, and I'm like, what do you think this event means? And then from that feedback, I try to change the wording of the event to actually be what I think it means and what they should also think it means.
Good.
Good?
I think we're good.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Neem.